Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through all that noise, the information overload, and really deliver the essential knowledge you need.
Yeah, it's a real challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wanting to be informed, but just facing this mountain of stuff.
Exactly. So what if we told you you could get key insights across, well, a whole range of business areas from just one, maybe surprising source?
That's what we're doing today. We're actually diving into practice questions, specifically from the IIA-CIA-Part3 exam practice questions and explanations.
IIA-CIA.
Oh, right. Institute of Internal Auditors, Certified Internal Auditor. But look, these aren't just exam questions. We're using them as a lens,
A lens to pull out fundamental ideas.
Precisely. Across governance, strategy, IT, accounting, both financial and managerial leadership, controls, risk, the whole gamut.
So this is kind of a shortcut for you, the listener, a way to get genuinely clued up on a lot of business and IT essentials without the headache.
We're aiming for those aha moments, not just dry facts, but the core ideas and, importantly, why they matter.
Whether you're, prepping for a meeting, trying to get up to speed on a topic, or just curious about how business really works.
Right. Now, just for context, this exam, the Part 3, it's pretty tough. Web-based, 100 questions, 2 hours.
And the pass mark.
Needs about an 80%, roughly 600 out of 750. So the concepts tested. They require real understanding, not just surface level.
Which is exactly why these questions are perfect for a deep dive like this. The principles are universal, even if they come from an exam context. Foundational stuff.
Couldn't agree more. So should we jump into the first one?
Let's do it. Where do we start?
Okay, first up, governance and strategic management. The source asks, basically, what's the main point of a mission statement?
And the answer?
The correct answer is B, to define the organization's core purpose and focus.
Right. A mission statement. Sounds a bit like corporate jargon sometimes, doesn't it?
It can, yeah, but it really shouldn't be. It's fundamental. It's the why behind everything an organization does, who it serves, what it aims to achieve.
It should guide decisions, shouldn't it? Like everything from strategy down to daily tasks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Sometimes people inside the company can't even clearly state the mission.
Which just shows how vital it is to get it right and communicate it well. It's not just words, it's direction. Shared purpose.
Exactly. It influences culture, how you spend money, everything. It keeps everyone pulling in, hopefully, the same direction.
Okay, so you've got your purpose defined. Now you need to protect your operations, right? Which leads us to IT and security.
Yes. The next question asks about a firewall. What's its main job in cybersecurity?
I think most people have heard of firewalls.
Sure. The answer here is A, controlling incoming and outgoing network traffic based on security rules.
So it's like a digital gatekeeper.
That's a great way to put it. It sits between your trusted network, like your company's internal system, and untrusted ones, usually the internet.
And it checks everything going back and forth.
Based on rules you set up. It filters the traffic, blocking threats, unauthorized access attempts, trying to stop bad stuff getting in.
And why should, our listener care about this?
Well, in today's world, everything's connected. Protecting data is critical. Firewalls are like a basic, essential layer of that protection. Understanding that helps you appreciate the security that's hopefully keeping your own data safe.
Makes sense. Invisible but vital. Okay, what's next?
Let's shift to managerial accounting. The question is about something called activity-based costing, or ABC. What's its main advantage?
ABC.
Okay.
The answer is C.
It allocates overhead costs more accurately to products or services.
Overhead costs, those tricky indirect costs, right? Rent, utilities, admin stuff.
Exactly. Traditional methods often just spread these out kind of
Yeah.
crudely, maybe based on labor hours or machine time.
And ABC is different now.
It tries to figure out what activities actually drive those overhead costs, and then it assigns the costs based on how much each product or service uses those activities. It's much more precise.
So you get a truer cost for each thing you sell.
Yes. And that can be a revelation. You might find out a product you thought was profitable is actually losing money once you account for all the activities it consumes.
Wow, okay. That could seriously change your strategy. Pricing, deciding what to focus on.
Definitely. Better information leads to better decisions, more accurate pricing, smarter resource allocation. It's about moving from guesswork to knowing the real numbers.
Which ties nicely into our next area, financial accounting.
Right. This question is about the main financial statements. Which one shows a company's cash inflows and outflows over time?
Okay, this should be familiar to some. Is it?
The answer is A, the cash flow statement.
Got it. Not the income statement or the balance sheet.
No, The income statement shows profit or loss,
Mhm.
right? Revenue minus expenses. The balance sheet is a snapshot, assets, liabilities, equity at a point in time.
But the cash flow statement, that tracks the actual cash.
Exactly. Where did cash come from? Operations, investing activities, financing activities, and where did it go? It shows the real movement of money.
And why is that so critical for, say, an investor or anyone looking at a company?
Because profit isn't cash. A company can look profitable on paper, but run out of actual cash to pay its bills. The cash flow statement shows liquidity, solvency, its actual ability to generate and manage cash. It's vital.
Okay, super important distinction. Let's pivot a bit now, away from numbers towards people.
Good idea. Organizational behavior and leadership. The question, what's a key characteristic of transformational leadership?
Transformational leadership sounds big.
It kind of is. The answer is D, motivating employees to exceed expectations through vision and inspiration.
So it's not just about managing tasks and deadlines.
Not at all. Transformational leaders focus on the bigger picture. They create a compelling vision, they inspire people, they encourage innovation, push employees to go beyond their own perceived limits.
It's about motivation and elevation, really.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to tap into people's higher level needs and potential, not just commanding and controlling.
And the impact.
Huge, potentially. Better team performance, more creativity, hitting ambitious targets. It's about fostering an environment where people want to excel. Of course, it needs the right context, too.
Right. Not every situation might call for transformation.
Interesting. Okay, back to controls and security, but maybe more physical this time.
Yes. IT security and internal controls again. The question. Which type of control restricts physical access to sensitive areas, like a server room? Physical access. So not just passwords.
Correct. The answer here is C, biometric authentication.
Ah, like fingerprints, facial recognition.
Exactly. Using unique physical traits, or sometimes behavioral ones like voice, to verify who someone is before letting them into a secure area.
Makes sense for server rooms, labs, places with critical infrastructure or data.
Definitely. It's a strong physical control. You can't easily borrow or steal someone's fingerprint, unlike a keycard, perhaps. It's about protecting those core physical assets and the information they hold.
Okay. Now, staying with controls, but maybe more about processes and preventing bad things internally.
You read my mind. Internal control and fraud prevention. Classic question. What's the purpose of segregation of duties?
Segregation of duties. Sounds important.
It is. Answer B. To prevent fraud by dividing responsibilities.
Meaning, one person shouldn't handle too many parts of a single process.
Precisely. You don't want the same person, say, ordering goods, receiving them, and approving the payment. You split those tasks among different people.
Why? What does that achieve?
It makes it much harder for one person to commit fraud or even make a significant error without being noticed. It builds in checks and balances. Someone initiating a payment shouldn't also approve it.
So it reduces risk.
Significantly. Risk of error, risk of fraud. It promotes accountability and helps safeguard the company's assets. It's a fundamental control principle, though sometimes tricky for very small businesses with few staff.
Good point. Okay, moving on to the broader picture of risk.
Risk management, the question. What does a risk assessment typically identify?
What are we looking for when we assess risk?
Answer B. Potential threats and vulnerabilities that could affect objectives.
Threats and vulnerabilities, so things that could go wrong.
Essentially, yes. A risk assessment is about proactively looking for what could stop you from achieving your goals. Internal risks, external risks, market changes, cyber threats, supply chain problems, operational failures.
Then it's not just listing them, right?
No, it's also about analyzing them. How likely are they? What would the impact be if they happened? Then you can prioritize which ones to focus on mitigating.
So why do this? What's the benefit for you, the listener, or your organization?
It lets you prepare. You can develop strategies to reduce the likelihood or impact, have contingency plans ready. It builds resilience. It helps you navigate uncertainty instead of just reacting when something bad happens.
Proactive versus reactive makes sense. Okay, let's talk money again, budgeting.
Budgeting and financial planning. Question. Which budgeting method starts from zero and requires justification for all expenses?
Starts from zero, not based on last year's budget.
Exactly. The answer is C, zero-based budgeting.
Zero-based? So literally every single dollar needs a reason to be there.
That's the idea. You don't just take last year's budget and add, say, 5%. You start with a blank slate for each department or activity and build it up, justifying every single proposed expense from scratch.
That sounds intensive.
It really is, but it forces a very deep look at where money is going and why. It can uncover huge inefficiencies because managers have to defend every line item, not just the increases.
So the potential payoff is leaner, more efficient spending.
Potentially, yes. More intentional spending. It challenges the status quo. We've always spent money on this, but it takes a lot of time and effort, which is probably why it's not used everywhere all the time.
Right, practicality versus theoretical benefit. Okay, one last area to cover.
Let's finish with IT again, focusing on business continuity. The question, what is a key benefit of cloud computing?
Cloud computing, pretty central to modern business.
Absolutely. And a key benefit, answer C, is resources are available on demand and scalable via the internet.
On demand and scalable. What does that mean in practice?
It means you can access computing power, storage, software, whatever you need over the internet, usually paying for just what you use. And you can easily scale up or down as your needs change.
Without having to buy and manage your own physical servers and infrastructure.
Exactly. That's the big shift. You rent access to resources instead of owning the hardware.
And the benefit for businesses, especially thinking about continuity.
Flexibility is huge. Cost effectiveness often follows, but also resilience. Cloud providers often have robust backups and disaster recovery built in. It lets companies adapt quickly, grow, and keep operating even if there's a disruption, often without huge upfront costs. It's a game changer. Right. So the thought to ponder is, how could integrating these principles, understanding the true cost of things via ABC, appreciating cash flow, managing risks proactively, leading transformationally, how could that change how you tackle challenges or spot opportunities?
How does knowing this stuff help you ask better questions, maybe make different decisions in your own work, or even just how you understand the world?
Exactly. Something to think about.